Okay, so here are my audience. Alright, so today I would like to talk to you about stem cell research. Have you ever imagined what life would be without suffering? Imagine those who can't walk, walking again. Those who can't produce white blood cells, producing it again. Imagine no more waiting for organs for those who needs it. So all this is possible with stem cell research. What's special about stem cell is that it can be anything. So here's a picture of roughly what it can be. Here's in the center is the stem cell, and it can be bones, bone marrow, but muscle cells, and pretty much anything that the human body makes. So to cure all the illnesses, it all lies within stem cell research. So I hope after this speech you'll know a bit more about stem cells and fully support it. Stem cells were first discovered back in 1960s when scientists found stem cells activity within brains of a mouse. So later, regenerating cells were discovered within the bone marrow. First bone marrow transplants were done between two siblings in 1968. It successfully cured severe combined immunodeficiency. This research continued on in 1981. Martin Evans and Matthew Kaufman successfully derived stem cells from mouse embryos and discovered its full potential with experiments done on mice. It wasn't until later in 1981, James Thompson of University of Wisconsin successfully isolated stem cells from the human embryo. In 2001, the first early human embryo was cloned for the purpose of generating embryonic stem cells. Scientists then discovered more stem cells within umbilical cord blood that are more embryonic state-like than adult stem cells back in 2006. Yes. So an example of the use of umbilical cord blood stem cell was given by Barack Obama when he was a senator. So in his statement of support for stem cell research, Obama mentioned a child named Ryan Schneider who was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. It is a condition that delays motor and speech development within the brain. So at first, the doctor didn't have hope for his recovery until Ryan's parents mentioned that Ryan's umbilical cord blood were saved when he was born. Treatments were done by a doctor at Duke University, and Ryan was cured. This can be done on many children out there who are like Ryan and need stem cell therapy in order to be cured. Since umbilical cord blood stem cells were discovered a bit later and not everyone saved their umbilical cord, it is a limited source of stem cell. Adult stem cells are limited as well. The only unlimited source of stem cells is the embryonic stem cells. The reason why is unlimited is because it can be created. So it can be created by using embryos obtained from in vitro fertilizations that any couple can donate. So no harm were done to women. So knowing all this, embryonic stem cell research are still sadly rejected by 30% of Americans. It was done on a poll ABC News did it, and yeah, that's what it showed back in 2006. Even if the percentage of Americans rejecting the research may not be too high, it's only 30%, right? But it's still enough to stop the research from keep on going and getting funds too. So, but adult stem cells and umbilical cord stem cells are fully supported by, most of the Americans. Adult stem cells can be obtained through bone marrows, the brain, peripheral blood, blood vessel, skeletal muscle, skin, teeth, gut, heart, liver, and testes. These stem cells can be specialized into a limited type of cells and tissues. For example, bone marrow stem cells can be used to generate bones, cartilages, fat cells that support formation of blood and fibrosis connective tissues. The stem cells from the brain can be used to help those with nervous system illnesses. Adult stem cells are still limited to cure only a few of the hundreds of problems that the human encountered. So as with the embryonic stem cell research, the possibilities are endless. So this type of stem cell is capable of being specialized into every kind of cells and tissue. But the problem is where it's obtained. Like its name, these cells are obtained in the blastocyst during the early embryo development. An embryo is capable of becoming a human fetus which is the main reason why 30% of the Americans folks are rejecting research. It was concluded by some that the embryo is also a person, so it should be treated as one. This argument of whether or not an embryo is classified as person stopped the research from time to time from getting the necessary funds from the government. Those who oppose the research believe an embryo is the beginning to a human life, so it should be given the rights just like a person. So making the process of obtaining stem cells and disposing it later, like counted as murder. So murdering another human being generally is not acceptable morally by anyone. Now, there is no science, Bible, or any form of guide to clarify when something becomes a person, a human being. This is left among people to discuss it out. So here are some of the arguments that people show on both sides, whether a fetus is a person or not. Or an embryo is a person or not. So Patrick Lee and Robert George, who were members of the President Bush Council on Bioethics, stated that human life began when a sperm and egg fuse. So others stated that they stated that the embryo can may be the beginning of a human life, but it does not prove that itself should be considered a human being. An example is that an acorn and oak trees are two different things, just like how eggs are not chickens. They may be eggs, they are the previous form, they were the fetus or the embryo outside of the body, but they're not chicken. So a human embryo should not be considered a person. Every person has rights that should never be taken away. Within an article published in Medical Device Weekly written by David Halsher and Alex Epstein, stated that by refusing to let research continue, the people who are disabled or diseased are being robbed of the right to be cured in the following statement. So I'll read exactly what they wrote, which I thought totally makes sense. In American society, all citizens are granted the right to pursue life and happiness. These rights ensure that people interact fairly and in freedom. Embryos, however, are only potential citizens, and thus do not yet need or warrant the right afforded by society. If embryos are granted a right of participant, other members of society will be denied their rights. For example, scientists will be robbed of their rights to engage in studies that could enhance human life. In addition, those future generations who might benefit from the work of these scientists would also suffer needlessly. For these reasons, it is essential that stem cell research must proceed unhindered. So, which totally makes sense if you think about it. So, scientists find stem cells, it cures people. It can literally be any part of your body that you need. If you short an arm, and if they can attach an arm back to you, they will make it out of your stem cell. But since, because taking stem cell out of an embryo is killing a person, is denied. But if you really think about it, there are many people who go through abortion. It's the same as abortion. If you rather just disposing of those embryos that they have, why not use them for research, right? So I hope after this speech that you'll think this through and fully support stem cell research in the future. Thank you.